IPMNation.com.
To all of my friends joining us at IPM Nation, thank you so very much for being with us here. We're about ready to kick it off over at Facebook. And again, thank you so very much for making us the #1 rated show here on IPM Nation. Thank you very, very much. All right, here we go.
Live from the Outpost Studios in Columbus, Ohio, you're listening to All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy. Brought to you by IPMNation.com. Get ready for the gong heard round the world.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Put the red pen down. It's time to let your strength roll. AllNaturalBeing.com.
All Natural Being. Warning, All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy is designed to shake your sense of self to the core.
It's full contact psychology with an empowering twist, a philosophical loofah for your soul.
For those of you not ready or comfortable releasing your inner superhuman, listener discretion is advised.
Here's your host,
Brian Brawdy.
Welcome. Get everything going here. And thank you for stopping by. Excuse me, #1 rated show here on IPMNation.com, episode 256 of the Gong Heard Round the World. You're in to All Natural Being, broadcast as it happens, here as I say, on IPMNation.com, and Facebook for Fly on the Wall video, live from the Outpost Studios in Columbus, Ohio, with rebroadcasts on iTunes and iHeartRadio. Greetings wherever you are here in the Garden of the Mortals. Top of the day, from the truest parts of your mind. Life, it's your labyrinth, your shot, this shot at running the table. That's why we're always putting your heart's highest priority, top of the list. Placing your primal scream front and center in your life. Reinstalling and reinstating the true wisdom of your inner whisper. Because it's time to reboot your robust, to find your ferocious, to outbrutal the brutal. That is the cut and shuffle that fate deals you on a daily basis, and to bring your own bold, once and for all. But before we hit it today, and Lowlifes Making Headlines, I'm very excited about this. But before we hit it today, hello to my friends here in the United States and Canada, Mexico, the UK, those my good friends in Ecuador, China, the Philippines, Brazil, India, Australia, Germany, Italy, France, Turkey, Japan, Singapore, Sweden, Israel, South Africa, Puerto Rico, Kenya, the Netherlands, to those joining us from all over the globe. It really is great to have you with us, and I truly am fired up to be driving your bandwagon, to be your biggest fan, to be avidly you, because I believe it's time to mortal up. So what do you say? Let's go kick in some doors. So, last evening, someone said to me, ooh, and I don't want to say who because I don't want to get him, but someone said to me, ooh, so you're going to do Lowlifes Making Headlines. You're going to bring that back. And I thought, yeah, you know what? Because here's what's happening. You give them an inch, they take a mile. What is that? Isn't that the saying? You give them an inch, they take a mile? Well, what's happening now is that the verbal police, the word police, the inappropriate police, the keepers, minions, if you will, but the keepers of political correctness, it deteriorates, right? It's like a tailspin. It's like losing control of your vehicle. If you live in a place here in the world where you get ice, it's like losing control of your vehicle. You just go and you spin out, and then you look back and go, how the heck did we get here? So, and then this particular person said, well, there's not a specific person that you can name for this for your kickoff of Lowlifes Making Headlines. There's not a right. It's more of a corporation. And I go, well, you can have a corporation that's a lowlife making headlines. You can do that. So then I thought, here in the thread, it would be great if you all could suggest to me different lowlifes making headlines, because there's not enough hours in the day to identify them all. But I thought, wow, maybe we could deputize each other and go, hey, if you got a good one, send me a message. Thank you to Kelly for the picture this morning, by the way. Got it as soon as I get up. Thank you very much. Thank you for Janelle for the picture, by the way, as well. So I thought we could just identify as a group the lowlifes making headlines, and then we go, okay, great. Thank you for the share. Thank you very much. So, what does it constitute? What does it take to be a lowlife making headlines? Well, I think you're going to see with this first story, and it's like, you have got to be kidding me. This is really not only what life has come to, but what we're teaching our kids, what we're teaching the people around us, of what the normal operating procedure should be as we move through our day. This is the insanity. We want to take our intellects, human intellects, not koala bears, right? Human intellects, not giraffe brains, human intellects. And this is what we're going to let them deteriorate into. This lowlifes making headlines. So my thought in doing this, and I know you're thinking, Brian, it sounds an awful lot like Mortal Up Mondays. I can't shake it, right? Because I think sooner or later, collectively, someone has to stand up for the watering down of human wisdom. And lowlifes making headlines, and we'll talk about it this morning here in the thread. We got a lot to talk about, but we'll talk about this morning here in the thread. Do we want a daily lowlife making headlines? Do we go, is there, we'll do Mortal Up on Mondays, but do we want lowlifes making headlines, right? Do we want 5 days a week? We could do a whole show called Lowlifes Making Headlines, but not right. So do we want to do it maybe one little segment, like a 3 little segment each day? Or do we go, okay, Lowlifes Making Headlines, let's take our best of the week. Maybe we put them on the spin the win wheel. Maybe instead of spin the win wisdom, we could say, this is our Lowlifes Making Headlines wheel. And we put their names on here, and then we go, okay, what are we going to do now? Who was the person that we pick? And then we'll highlight that particular story. And I have to tell you, there was a lot of people clamoring for this morning. But I picked the one that I thought was just great for our kickoff. But let's do this. Let's hop into the thread. Let's say hello to everyone, see who's here with us this morning. And then, I also, queuing this up, I also want to announce that Henry Noel will be joining us. Welcome to IPM Nation, Henry. By the way, I was talking to Matt last night, and Henry's getting his own show here on IPMNation.com, so I'm very excited about that. And then also, he's going to be providing a segment. We work with the audio. It's just, Brian's, what I say all the time, Irish luck. Don't believe the hype. So yesterday, we get everything set up, right? We're going to do this. You're going to be able to call in and everything else. And then the guy that we normally speak to that helps us with some of the tech took a sick day. So I'm like, we're ready to take the calls. We're ready to do this. We're ready to do that. And there's such an echo. I can't figure it out. So I go to call him. He goes, don't worry. Just call me. Sick day. Irish luck. Don't believe the hype. But in any event, congratulations to Henry for getting his own show at IPMNation.com. You're going to love this. And he's going to be providing a segment. And there's all kinds of things that we're going to do together as his show builds. And then, Henry, you'll have to tell me. I didn't learn last night what the time frame is, but we'll put it here in the thread and make sure I can get into our thread. Put it here in the thread and make sure that everyone knows. Good morning. There he is. Laura, good morning as well. Dana Lee, yes, 2:56. Hard to believe, huh? Alan, good morning. Janelle, good morning. Thank you for the share. Dana Lee, if Gabriel's nearby, please tell him I said hello. Michael, John, Tanya, if you're there with your mom, please know that I said hello. Or Laura, if you're listening, please give him a high five for me. Tell him I said thanks. So, and then I'm really, yeah, you know what, Laura, a lot of times when I write these scripts, I think, okay, and I really cleaned it up this morning over on Twitter. And do you know why? Because I just did. But in any event, we'll just do our Lowlifes Making Headlines this morning, and know that I did my absolute best to clean it up. But ultimately, to realize that what will happen. Good morning, Janice. Nice to see you. Looking forward to catching up here in a few weeks. Working out everything. So we're reintroducing Lowlifes Making Headlines this morning because here's ultimately what I think happens. You know when they say, what's the saying, you give them an inch, they'll take a mile? Well, sooner or later, if we don't stand up for the watering down, the true watering down of human wisdom, we turn around. I remember in law enforcement, I had this belief that if you cross the line, right, you had a line, an imaginary line, whatever it was. If you cross that line, the moment you cross that line, you look back, line's gone. Right? So if you say to yourself, oh, I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna do that, I'm not gonna violate someone's rights, I'm not gonna commit my own crimes, I'm not gonna do all these other things, right? That was your line in the sand. But it was my understanding from very early on that if you stepped across that line, moment you go, oh, I'll just step back now, you look down, the line's gone. Well, that's the same thing that happens with letting these lowlifes making headlines, letting them run the show. And you go, come on. What has happened to a true human intellect? What has happened to the human mind that we allow it to be hijacked? It's your mind. Why would we forfeit that ability? So our Lowlifes Making Headlines this morning it's just a way of having some fun. It's not fun. It's dead serious, right? But it's just a way of going, look, it can't continue. Sooner or later, someone has to stand up to the lunacy. Someone has to say, no, I don't think that's the way. The human mind is not so permeable. It's not made of balsa wood like you act. So here's the thing. All right, let's jump to it. And I even queued up the story because I couldn't believe it. And I wanted to make certain that I was reading this the right way, that I understood this correctly. And I want to get everyone's opinion. So a woman in South Carolina tries to order a graduation cake for her son. Lee is watching. Good morning, Lee. Nice to see you. But the bakery, and this is, so you're wondering, drum roll, who gets our inaugural Lowlifes Making Headlines? It's Publix, the grocery store chain in the South. Well, it's great stores. I love them. The Publix grocery store chain gets our inaugural Lowlifes Making Headlines. Because, and here's the story, you may have heard about it. Let me know if you have. Mom in South Carolina, really excited about her son graduating the top of his class. Says, as one would, right? I'm going to celebrate with a sheet cake. Well, I'm going to get a cake, and I'm going to say congratulations, and I'm going to write summa cum laude, right? It just means, really great honors, really great distinction. But then, you ready for this? The bakery at Publix, our first Lowlifes Making Headlines, says, it's got a cuss word in it. We can't write that. So they get the cake back, summa -- laude. Forgetting the fact that it's been a Latin term for, about as long as Latin's been around. She spent $70 on the cake, and she can't get it to say what she wants because someone at the bakery, probably our targeted Lowlife Making Headlines, someone at the bakery decides, that's a cuss word. That's profanity. And right? So they confuse, which, if you don't know Latin, I guess there's just some of those Latin words that are, if you have any, let me know. Joseph, nice to see you with us. Thank you so very much for watching. So the store bakery just, for whatever reason, says, summa cum laude. That's just profane, and we're not going to print it. So they put summa, SUMMA, -- laude. So it reminds me of a time that we've talked about before. Good morning, Rita. Nice to see you as always. Reminds me about someone that got in trouble because we talked about guerrilla tactics. And at least in that situation, the word isn't even spelled the same way. We got in trouble because everyone said, he's calling someone a guerrilla. And that's not even the way the word is spelled. So I guess you could argue here that dash, dash, dash is that someone says, oh, that's profane. I can't put that on a cake. What has happened to us? So you graduate. His name is Jacob. So they want Jacob to have a cake. They want to be able to celebrate. Doesn't really look like, Jason cared. And in the special instructions, they say, hey, look, will you just put on here summa cum laude. A little bit of celebration, passing around the cake. And again, I ask the Lowlifes Making Headlines Publix, what is wrong with you? That now this word is considered profane, forgetting that it's in the Latin. We get in trouble when we use words that aren't even spelled the same. Why? Because these brainiacs have decided, these Lowlifes Making Headlines have decided, doesn't matter how you spell the word. I guess it's how it sounds. Doesn't matter how you spell the word. Good morning to Merlin. Nice to see your icon pop up. Thank you so very much for joining us here at All Natural Being. Doesn't matter how, right? Doesn't even matter what the true meaning of the word is. If it just sounds offensive, if it just sounds, right? So we talk all the time about irritable brain syndrome. If it sounds offensive, then you and I have to stop using Latin because it's someone that works in a bakery could be offended by it. So again, our Lowlifes Making Headlines this morning, Publix, way to go, guys and girls. Am I allowed to say that anymore? Way to go. Can't even use Latin now. Because of all of these hotheads wrapped in thin skin running around going, well, that's profane. Can't do it. Sorry. Have to give you a dash, dash, dash on your cake. What? And then, and believe me, there was another one. There was a rap artist that had a competition, and believe me, this was close. But for another Lowlife Making Headlines, a recent rap artist decided to have someone come up on stage and rap a song that he wrote, packed it full of words that I guess he's offended by. And then when this girl gets up on stage and sings the very words that she won the competition for. She won the competition. She was picked from the crowd because she knew his song by heart. She nailed it. Except she used the word that he wrote, and he stopped the performance and said, whoa, 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 you can't use that word. I can write it, I can say it, but you can't use it. Oh, that's not narcissistic. No. So then, let me guess this. You entrap her. She falls for your rouge. And then you're all upset. You're outraged. Call her out in a public forum. Call her out on stage. All because of a word you wrote. And you invite her because she understood the lyrics. So what has happened to us? So we allow these people to continue, not just to stoke the division. Not just to stoke the division. As Alan says, suffers of choice and opportunities. Not just stoke the division, but to continue to add fuel to the fire that suggests that words don't even have, it doesn't matter how words are spelled. Words are, right? Words, which are nothing more than gangs of letters. Words, which are nothing more than their spelling. Right? We spell dog, D-O-G, because we don't spell it C-A-T. So now are we to believe that if I say dog, I really mean cat? If I say giraffe, I mean hamster? If I say earthworm, I clearly mean boa constrictor. Yeah, kids are afraid to death to go in the backyard. They don't want to get caught by an earthworm boa constrictor. So now it's forget the intent of the author, right? That doesn't matter. Forget that it's in Latin. That doesn't matter. But here's the thing. These hotheads wrapped in thin skin are the ones running the show. And then we wonder how it is that when it comes to putting our heart's highest priority, top of our list, when it comes to keeping the ego, and as we said yesterday, the deciduous, just like baby teeth, the deciduous ego, it doesn't want to give up control. So it's going to continue. I can just imagine someone at Publix this morning going, oh, I showed them. I spelled their cake SUMMA dash, dash, dash. Now, let me just apologize in advance. Maybe this brainiac knows Morse code. Can anyone tell me what does dash, dash, dash and Morse code stand for? Clearly, rocket scientists are working at a bakery at Publix. Maybe dash, dash, dash. Maybe that's, I stand corrected. But now we get to the point where it doesn't even matter the way those words are spelled, that the sense of, oh, well, I'm going to put a stop to this right now with 3 dashes. What has happened to the human mind? That outside opinion becomes so important that we've invited the ego to stay along for too long. What was it? Ben Franklin said that guests and fish begin to smell after 3 days. Well, what's the shelf life of the ego? How bad does that to begin to stink? Daniel, good morning, sir. Buenos dias. I think we're talking about selective and willful ignorance here. Judgment and outrage is more exciting than learning and understanding, Lee, I absolutely agree, right? Outrage is the new black. Everyone just wants to be habituated to intrusion. And I think it's because people want attention. Here's ultimately what I think it is. And to you, Daniel. Here's what I think it is. Everyone just wants attention. So if they feign outrage, everyone goes, oh, poor little, like a bird that fell out of the nest. Don't be outraged. It's okay. Don't worry. Continue to let the ego run roughshod over you. What is life? You're perfectly content being a hand puppet. You're perfectly content having someone pull your strings. You're perfectly content allowing yourself to be exploited. So please put dash, dash, dash on a cake. Please invite someone up on stage only to chastise them when they sing the lyrics that you wrote and to believe that you get to say it but other people don't. Talk about a lowlife making headlines. Henry says that's the plan. In the not-too-distant future, good morning will be considered telling someone what to do and will become a jailable offense. Henry, I'm going to love your show. For those of you joining us, Henry's getting his own show on IPM Nation. That's absolutely true. And my good friend Daniel, I'm waiting, Daniel, because Daniel and I, when we say buenos dias, I'm waiting for the day, Daniel, when I'm not allowed to greet you the way you greet me because it's going to be considered cultural appropriation. And don't forget, please keep the list coming. I've ordered a boomerang, and I've ordered a bunch of other things. I think I'll be using the boomerang to scratch my back, right? I haven't decided. Or maybe my front. But, right, pretty soon, I won't even be able to say buenos dias to my good friend Daniel because it will be considered cultural appropriation. I guess I'm allowed to say Aaron go bra, I guess, maybe, don't know. I got to check every time. Most times I'm just like, I say something, then I wait to see if I get a text going, oh, for the love of God, don't say that again. But what has happened to the human mind? What has happened? As Alan says, heaven forbid a lowlife has a complex. Well, here's the thing. You gotta feel bad for people like this. You gotta go, look, all joking aside, right? Let's start to use our minds like they're human brains. Not like a colander where people's opinions just get to pour in and then, oh, well, I've ruined my day because I listened to the drool of a critic. Right? Instead of being sold our sense of self from the committee, the mashugana of the marketplace. Bonjour. Thank you, Daniel, very much. That's what I should do. Guten Morgen. Bonjour. Oh, well, I did take French 2 semesters in high school. So what I should do is, yes, that's what I should do. Learn how to say good morning in like 100 different languages. And I'll start off each morning, right? I'll need some help, Daniel, with the pronunciation. But I'll say good morning. That's what I should do. That's a great idea, Daniel, right? So keep the ideas of cultural appropriation. Please keep them coming. I'm all over it. Oh, and let me just also thank the good good folks at themountain.com for my hooded sweatshirts. Loving this one. They're very comfortable and creative as well. Themountain.com if you get a chance to say hello. Oh, and try h2.com. head on over there. We were talking earlier this week and most of last week about everyone's worried about free radicals. Well, how about philosophical free radicals? Be inclusive. Daniel, you're absolutely right. Twice. Absolutely right. Don't forget, tryh2.com. Learn all about hydrogen, molecular hydrogen. And I have these bottles. I get my water in. They have what's called a hydrogenation process. So I'm drinking in this molecular hydrogen, and in terms of arthritis, in terms of the dementia, right? Whatever normalcy I have left. But in terms of my dementia, right, I'm able to do a little bit of inhalation of molecular hydrogen and drinking some molecular hydrogen, and that helps as well. But Daniel, I love that idea. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start learning how to say good morning in all these different languages and then wait for the trolls. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Someone said to me the other day, I really love that troll alert. And I also want to thank Janile. She did the little, Janile, what are they called? GIFs? She did the little GIF of troll alert that you see posted up over on Facebook and Twitter. So thank you so very much for that, Janile. I'm not that talented when it comes to creating those things, so let me know. But troll alert. So tune in. There'll be trolls that are upset that I called out Kendrick Lamar or Lamar Kendrick, whatever his name is. There'll be trolls that are all upset that we called out Publix because dash is, I don't know, maybe it's maybe it's something in Morse code that I don't know about. But ultimately, think about what it is that we're passing on to future generations when we let these hotheads wrapped in thin skin, when we let these people run the show. It's all right. I said I didn't want to spend the whole show on this, and that's just what I've done. But here's the deal. As Henry says, separation. This has been the plan. And like fools, society follows like sheep. Hold on. Where are we? Oh, you know what? And I thought about that for just a second. Oh, I like this one. I have sheep somewhere. Oh, here's a goat. Can we follow them like goats? Goats? Okay, wait a minute. I gotta have. So I'm going to. Oh, here we go. There we are. Oh, a group, right? Right. So instead of, like Henry says, separation. It's been the plan, fools. The separation will be complete when we can't talk to ourselves. We can't talk to each other. Oh, how about the turkey? Something about a turkey. I know it's popular to call people sheep, but there's something about turkey. I don't know. I don't think you can beat that sound effect. Oh, I stand corrected. Maybe a penguin. Nah, I think you're right. I think turkey might win. Here's the point we're making. We can't continue to let this separation go the way it is because we're going to have to live in this future. It'd be different if this future, right? If we could all move to an island somewhere and go, okay, groovy, I'm not going to be, right? Fate isn't going to try to chop block me in the future, so I can let these brainiacs just continue to run the show. They can say, oh, that's inappropriate. That's outrageous. I'm offended by this. I'm offended by that. But then what happens? You can't even use words in their correct spelling. You can't even use Latin terms. You're not even allowed to use words when you win an award for memorizing the words. Then you're brought up on stage to show how good you are, how important that song was to you that you memorized it. Yeah, that's what my day is going to be filled of, memorizing. That's what I'm going to do. You're brought up on stage, and then when you say the word, you're chastised in front of everybody. Sooner or later, we stand up. As Henry says, before it gets to the point where we can't, well, think about it. We can't even talk to ourselves anymore. The self-criticism that some people are subject to is through the roof because the ego goes, oh, you can't believe in yourself. That's just narcissistic. No, narcissistic is the two examples that I gave you of the rap singer and Publix. That's narcissism, where you believe you have the right to control someone's graduation cake. You have the right to control somebody because you think it's profane. That's narcissism. Oh, my God, you want a greater definition of narcissism than that? Ignorance and power. You're absolutely right, Rita. It's a dangerous combo, a nice and dangerous combo. And then, in bringing it full circle, we think of the ways that the ego tries to tyrannize us. You know, they talk about totalitarian regimes around the world, whether it's Russia, or China, or any of the other places that are making the news now. But the greatest totalitarian regime is when the ego tells you you can't do it, when you can't pull it off, when you can't be happy, you can't be successful, you can't be loved. You're not smart enough, you're not strong enough, you're not fast enough, right? You're not good enough, all these other things. 1776, Alan Black says. Right? So you talk about you talk about a puppet government where the ego outstays its welcome, believes that it can control what you put on a cake or the words that you use on stage. It believes, oh, no, human beings are too fragile, they're too timid, they're too thin-skinned. But the problem is, you let these trolls run the show. That's the future that we're going to envelop ourselves in, where humans begin to believe that they're fragile, that humans begin to believe. Let me ask you this, and then we'll leave on this note. People say, oh, that's just dehumanizing. Dehumanization is a hearing defect. If you allow someone to say something and it dehumanizes you, you get to the point where you go, oh, no, I absolutely believe the propaganda they're selling. That's dehumanization. As social animals, what's the greatest way to control humans? Separate them into individuals, and uncomfortableness of being separated will encourage them to follow anyone preaching togetherness. I agree with you, Henry. So here's the deal. If we say, oh, but if we channel our all-natural being, if we channel that part of us, instead of watering down our wisdom, we take our wisdom and our wit, we dovetail our heart and our head, we don't listen to these lowlifes making headlines. We ignore them. Everyone calling us to do it their way. Well, that hawk screech. I don't know. I think the turkey still wins. Or dolphins. How about dolphins? Hold on. Yeah. Maybe dolphins. Maybe they. I don't want to be disparaging the dolphins. And PETA, please don't call. Because now I'm going to be trolled by PETA because I made fun of the way dolphins and turkey sound. So for people for the ethical treatment of arachnids, or whatever that organization is, they'll be calling pretty soon to complain. It was offensive to dolphins. All right, we got to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you so very much for joining us at All Natural Being. Henry, again, congratulations on your new show over at IPMNation.com. As soon as we work out the time and the date, let us know when that's going to be. Throw it up here in the thread. We'll be announcing that. And we're going to work today on the technology. But tomorrow, our first call-in will be the incomparable Henry Noel. He'll be on tomorrow morning, right, on our show. That is, unless anyone is sick again, right? Unless the tech guy takes another sick day. I hope you're well. I really do. Amy, good morning. Nice to see you. All right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you so very much for joining us here at All Natural Being. And remember, as you're moving out and about today, put your heart's highest priority top of your list. Put your primal scream front and center in your life. It's your wisdom. It's your wit. Why would you let anyone water that down? You're already a superhuman once we get, some of the impediments out of the way. Have an absolutely fantastic day. We'll see you back bright and early tomorrow morning. And then we'll go like this. And then we'll go like this. Yes, I will, of course. Troll alert. Troll alert. Well, you gotta love that. All right. Have an absolutely fantastic day.
IPMNation.com.